Don't you know
Oh, yeah. What a game they had done tonight. Oh, for sure. It was a great game.
It was a wild one, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Postgame show. Hey, I'm from Canada.
It was really good.
I could do this all show if that's what we're doing. Eh?
That would be a lot. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Postgame show, the first one in 9 days, in fact.
Wow. Brought
to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill back in studio with Petey, Craig calling in for Mullett. Order is restored. I felt so weird the other day when it was flipped.
And Sean behind the Mac.
And Sean is behind the Mac.
Sean is back. The gang is back together.
You just have to continue to assert yourself.
Yeah, he's here. He works here.
I will make myself a part of this team, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
Eventually.
But Petey, the Arizona Coyotes take down your hometown Minnesota Wild.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting because when you get this long of a break, you never know what to expect coming out of it. And it takes you a couple games to get back into the rhythm. And it's honestly easier to play on the road because you're in a hotel, you're all together, and you're thinking about the game. Yeah. When you have that long of a break, I'm sure a lot of the players, like Veggie, had family in town. And you're still hosting and entertaining, and then you got to go to the rink. So I thought this was going to be a bad omen for the Yotes, and they were really good. And they were really good right from the get-go. The first 10 minutes, their ability to get pucks to net, crash the net, they could have had a couple in the first period. And we'll talk about the Wild and their chances as the game went on. But that first period, the Coyotes outshot the Wild. They had more opportunities at the net, and they did things that they usually don't do is they have those second opportunities and those better looks inside the blue paint. So it was a really good start for these Coyotes out of the break. They look good. Yeah, they did. They outshot the Wild 14-5 in the first period, which, as we know with this team, that is not very characteristic. That's not very characteristic of how the Coyotes usually play. But you're right. And you know what else, Petey, is they had a full practice yesterday coming off of a break. I think it was actually on the flip side, it was great that they were home, that they got to have that full practice because how many practices have they had this season? Barely any. And if they do, they're squeezing them in between games. So I think that might have been a bit valuable for them too. And they're looking at having a couple practices this week too. I think someone said, and we'll have to get Craig in here to verify that because he verifies everything. They're having back-to-back practices this week for the first time in this calendar year. Wow. And we're in February. So it's the practice time is invaluable, especially for things like the power play, which did connect tonight. We'll talk more about that later too. But they skated well. They look quick. And one of the things that happens when you get teams coming into the Mullett for the first time, it's routine and habit are a part of this game. And this changed the habit and the daily routines of every player on this Minnesota Wild roster because no matter how many times you've played this Coyotes team and how many times you've been to Glendale, this is your first time inside Mullett. A different hotel, different path to get to the rink. What time do I have to leave the hotel to get there in time? Do I have time to get a coffee? Is there Starbucks on the way? Those little things. And I'm not saying that's why they won or why they lost. I'm saying that it just changes your daily routine. And then you get to the rink in a locker room you've never been in a building you've never seen before. And there's just little nuances to the building, the way the boards play differently, your sight lines with the seating. It's all black. It's darker. Is it different to play there? All of those things. And you go, oh, this is kind of neat and it's kind of fun. And you forget to play the game. Yeah. And you see this for a lot of these good teams that come into Mullett for the first time, and the Coyotes are able to skate with them. Now, if this is a 7-game series, I'm sure the Minnesota Wild would figure this out and it would be a different team. Yeah. But the Coyotes looked better tonight. They skated faster. They had more opportunities. The Wild got better as the game went on. Let's not kid yourselves. This Minnesota Wild team is a good team. They're in third place in the Central for a reason. Yeah. They've just had some ups and downs and been a little inconsistent this season. And I tell you what, the Coyotes are hard to beat. That Mullett magic was absolutely there tonight. And Cassian could have had one in the first period. Kraus in the first period. Cassian was all over it. Every time there was a chance, Sean would say, "Who is that?" And it's like, it's Cassian.
There was a point where I thought Zach Cassian was going to attempt the Michigan, and I would have lost my
exact Cassian.
Sean said he would never watch hockey again.
It was unreal.
Exactly.
That would be a violation to the sport, an embarrassment to the sport of hockey if Zach Cassian. Fleury would have to retire.
if he gets on it. I agree. And we'll Jack McBain gets the winning goal. And Jack McBain's been playing well for this team all along. He does a lot of things. He's tough in the corners. He's fought. He can get to the net. He drives the net, and he provides offense. But he's supposed to be doing it in a Minnesota Wild jersey.
Yeah.
Because that's the team that drafted him. And it just couldn't work out. The truth is, they didn't have room for Jack McBain in their roster, and McBain could play here. So when you want to go where you can play. Yeah. So he signs with the Arizona Coyotes because he has an opportunity to play and get into the roster quicker and sooner. Now, is he an NHL player and could play for the Minnesota Wild? Sure. But would he get the ice time he's getting in Arizona? No. He wouldn't have the opportunity he got here. So for him to score the game-winning goal
against the team that drafted him.
Unbelievable.
I know. And as Mark said in the chat, McBain with the last dagger, fortuitous for us and sweet for him.
Yeah, so. I imagine he had to be thinking that in the back of his head that he wanted to play well tonight and show them what he had. And
the way he hustled on that breakaway, that was unreal. Like it wasn't just a goal. It was a
really nice goal.
Sweet goal. So congrats to Jack McBain. I feel like we've gone a long time without getting into our nightly.
No, we're out of our routine.
Seriously. We're also improving in the second half like the Minnesota Wild. So let's start with the numbers tonight. And in a shocking twist, the Coyotes outshot the Minnesota Wild 36-35. Wow. The Coyotes were on the power play a lot in this game, which I'm sure had a big part to do with this. I think if we were the Minnesota Wild postgame show, we'd be harping on the Wild for taking so many penalties. The Coyotes had 5 power plays in the first 30 minutes of this game. It was crazy. So 1 for 6. That first Jakob Chychrun goal was on the power play, and then hits 26-21. But in the end, it's the top number that matters. 3-2 for the Coyotes, and I'm sure they'll be pleased with that, kind of setting the tone for these final 31 games left in the season.
Surprising, with the Coyotes over 30 shots on goal, they traditionally lose those games. This is only is it the third time now that they've won with over 30 shots in this season? For some reason, they don't do well when they get this many shots. And for a while there, Veggie always plays better when he gets more shots, and you got worried after the first. You're like, he's not getting enough action, not getting enough rubber. And Minnesota comes back.
15 outshot, 15-7 in the second. The Coyotes were.
Yeah, so he got to see some rubber eventually. But that number is huge. I think the shots on goal, when the Coyotes can outshoot an opponent, which happens so rarely this season, so that's surprising. And the power play, 1 for 6. Having them connect on the power play is big. They need to have this power play get a little bit of traction going into this last 30 games because it's an area that's been up and down all season. Started off incredibly hot, then got cold. It'd be nice to see that get hot again. Barrett Hayton comes through with an unbelievable play on the power play to get the puck back to Chychrun. And let's face it, Chychrun's got a really good shot. I mean, he's Chick-a-boom for a reason, and he gets 2 tonight because he's got a great shot.
Both of them were unreal shots.
Shot. And I saw someone in the chat say, is this his last game here? I mean, the trade deadline is fast approaching. We said it here. If he played well enough, he would get out of here. If you need an offensive defenseman at the right price and can do a lot of things in the game, Jakob Chychrun's the guy. We'll just see if there is a need for somebody else to get a player like that at the trade deadline, because he's doing what has been asked of him. Yep. He's playing really good hockey right now.
We will talk to Craig more about that when he gets here, and we will also have a full trade deadline preview show coming a little later this week. So more trade talk. It's almost like Trade Talk Tuesday, except it won't be on a Tuesday. I'm so sorry. But I also want to get into your keys, because we've already referenced one of them, which was back to work, need a good start after the break. And I think we both agreed already that they nailed that one.
Yeah, but because we talked about it, it's hard to get going after that. And I think that's one of the things you can say about Minnesota's penalties is because their timing was off. That's a team that skates very well, but you look at their penalties, they're slashing and tripping because their stick falls because your feet aren't moving fast enough. So it takes you a while to get going after a break. And they did that. I thought their first power period was fantastic. Their penalties against that power play, Kaprizov had some great looks early on the power play, and he scared me. Like, this game easily could have turned if he can put one of those in on the power play, but their penalty kill was perfect. So they're 2 for 2, and the third key, defend 97. Kaprizov ends up with a goal, and he continues his point streak continues, but but he didn't dominate and carry this team like he has at other points in the season. Hey, he's a really, really good hockey player. The puck finds Kaprizov.
When he's on the ice, you kind of hold your breath a little bit as the opposing team. But I thought they did an overall good job containing him, obviously, because if they hadn't, I think it would have been detrimental to this game for them. So.
Yeah, and they defended good too. And this is one of the issues for this team all season long is their ability to defend and defend in tight. And I thought they did that well. The first goal they do give up off of that turnover, that's tough. I mean, it was a tough neutral zone turnover, and I thought that it's unfortunate for Boyd against Minnesota, but I think they've done a better job of managing the puck in this first game back from the break. They didn't have, other than the Boyd turnover, I thought they managed the puck better between the blue lines than they had, and I thought they defended much, much better. And as they always seem to do in the Mullett, they skate better and get to the net. Yeah. I don't know what it is about the Mullett.
And you said they looked better in the blue paint tonight also.
I for sure. Yeah. You look at that first period, how many opportunities they had in tight. Bugstead, Krause, Cassian, we've talked about already. They had so many opportunities in tight. That's a good sign for the scouting teams if they can get the puck to the net more often. We'll see. They've got some big games coming up, though.
I just have to say, this chat.
See, how do you keep up with that? Like, I'm sorry.
This chat is the friendliest, nicest chat in all of PHNX. And before we went live, I was scrolling up, and like someone would pop in. Hey, hi. Someone else. Oh my God, hey, hi. And now like Dan's leaving. Night, Dan, goodbye.
Why is Dan gonna go?
I just have to say,
it's very nice.
I love all of you and I appreciate all of you. And if you're here live, like this video. And Tyler said, DNVR subscriber here. Thanks for beating the Wild. You're welcome, Tyler. I am so glad that we can give you that service.
1 point back right now, and Colorado's putting out a big push, and they're finally starting to get healthy. They look for Bo Byram. The Chuskin's coming back after the break, so they're almost there. Landeskog's a little bit, and Manson a little bit too, but they're getting healthy, and it's going to be a race for that third spot between Wild and the Colorado Avalanche, so you're welcome.
Yep, and Caleb said, Petey's being positive, Coyotes win. What timeline are we in?
See, I'm trying. So Caleb, here's the deal. First of all, I'm not drinking, so that makes me a little more clear-headed. I'm over it. I'm over it. I understand the tank. I get the basis of the tank.
And by the way, Craig's going to come in here and say, what are they doing?
I know. Craig's going to be You can't expect coaches and players to try to lose, period. I'm over it. When they lose, I'll say it's okay.
Teams don't tank. That's what Gary Bettman says.
When they lose, I'm going to say it's okay because of Connor Bedard. But when they win, we're going to say, hey, that's a good win. And they played really, really well. And they had good individual efforts. McBain, Chychrun, Hayton. And they did it really without being on the back of their all-star Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz, who I didn't think were the driving forces behind this offense tonight. So like we say all the time, it's somebody different. And so I'm going to continue to try, keyword there was try, to be positive for the next 31 games.
Love it. Love it. Well, they're helping us tonight by giving us some good things to talk about. And one of those we already touched on, of course, but it's Jakob Chychrun, who scored 2 goals tonight. According to Craig, there were quite a few scouts in attendance at Mullett.
Scouts?
Jakob Chychrun, maybe we are rumored to be trade bait for, it feels like, an endless amount of time. But Jakob Chychrun, his 6th and 7th goals of the season, and they were both beauties. They really were. They were just unreal shots. You can tell he was buzzing right from the start tonight. So Jakob Chychrun, this was a no-brainer as he is tonight's DraftKings king of the game. Chickaboom.
Chickaboom, king
2
of the
goals,
game.
5 shots.
Let's not go with no-brainer so quickly. I did, Nick, if you're listening, I did vote for Nick Bugstead for king of the game. And again, fell on deaf ears. He did have some good looks early, and
he did.
He was strong defensively.
Sean bet on him live
things.
to be an anytime goal
and did all the little things.
I also bet on Travis Boyd. My vote was for. I know I say Tage Thompson's the greatest hockey player of all time. Zach Cassian's a close second. My votes were ignored because I'm just the producer that's always forgotten.
Gets to Michigan. I'm all with you. 1,000%. He's the king of the game.
Zach Cassian
did not happen.
If he does the Michigan.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, congrats to Chick and, continuously boosting his trade value in front of the scouts. Like you said, you have to play your way out if you want to leave. This is just a complete aside. He did delete Arizona Coyotes from his Twitter bio, but we're not going to have a Kyler Murray scrubbing his social media moment on this show because I don't know.
I honestly don't get it.
His his head photo is still him in a Coyotes uniform.
But why did you do that?
I don't know.
Maybe
he was just doing some
I talked to Saul and
house
Espo. Maybe I'm going to swipe PHNX from my bio tomorrow, see if anybody knows.
Sometimes you just get bored. I was playing with my Twitter bio the other day, and at first I took co-host of PHNX Sun Devils out of there, and I'm like, oh, wait, it probably doesn't look good. It sends bad signals, so I put it back.
I don't know. I'm clearly not going to be. He has no control over what happens at the trade deadline. So you could delete your. I don't know what to do with it. You can wear Arizona Sucks t-shirts to the rink, and it doesn't matter. You can't quit. Like you're part of this team until you're not. The good news is he's playing well enough, and that helps this team, and it helps him. And as I said, he is a part of this team right now. And you know what? He looks like he's having fun, and I think that was important to him. We've talked to him a few times, and he just wants to play good hockey. And good for him. And if he ends up somewhere by the trade deadline, great. And if he doesn't, that's great too. It's good for the team. I think, just continue to play well.
Yep. We have our nightly $1.99 super chat from Vaguely Sober Heart, PHNX Heart. We got a few DNVR.
Another DNVR,
in the chat.
and again,
we appreciate you all.
You're welcome to DNVR.
Yeah,
people,
for beating the Wilds. We are welcome. Well, we already talked about Sean doing some live betting tonight. He did live bet the Arizona Coyotes money line when they were plus 190, and somebody else in our Discord, I'll have to go up and find who it was. Barn 182 in our Discord also bet live the Coyotes. I don't know if it was a live bet, but bet the Coyotes. And Sean won himself some coin. He won himself some coin on DraftKings. Also today on DraftKings, Sean and I both got a boost for the Super Bowl.
Is that in your email? Is that where you get those?
Well, it was only, that's why you got to be paying attention to the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It was only available from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern. It was a boost that boosted Jalen Hurts and or Miles Sanders anytime touchdown score, rushing touchdown score.
Paying attention.
Yeah, you had to be paying attention.
Yeah.
We were right on it.
Get the DraftKings Sportsbook on your phone.
Sean was buzzing today on DraftKings. I was buzzing. Yeah. Just saying. Lots to bet on now that hockey's back, which, you know what? I kind of missed it. I'm not going to lie. Super Bowl, less than a week away. So much fun stuff to bet on.
Can you bet on that?
So much. The Gatorade color.
Yep.
The coin toss.
Blue.
Who they're going to thank in their speech.
Mom.
Wow. Okay.
There we go.
Giving
Blues,
out
tails,
your pick.
mom.
I'm going straight to the Sportsbook app because now I have this money. Yep. Blue, you said blue.
Blue, tails, mom.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so much fun stuff to bet on DraftKings. So download it now. Use the code PHNX, and new customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. PD, yesterday we were at 18 degrees in Scottsdale, and we filmed our Minnesota trivia.
Yep.
So if you missed that, go on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. It's the video right before this and the Arizona Coyotes playlist. PD sat down with Travis Boyd and Nick Bukestad for some Minnesota trivia. And I will say they were really bought into it.
It was as we know, I was nervous with the Minnesota boys there and with Nick there. It was, if you haven't watched it, just go check it out. It was a lot of fun, and it was just guys being guys. No, they were totally, they weren't like, hey, 110 backs against the wall. We're giving 100%. And,
No.
They were talking.
I love that Travis Boyd was also adding his 2 cents. Like you would say something and he would say, and did you know? I was like, yes. They were
great. They were having fun. It was a lot of fun. So check it out.
Yeah, check it out. But right after we filmed,
what did we do?
We went right to the bar inside 18 degrees and we all ordered some 4 Peaks.
4 Peaks.
I had the wow. So good. That was the best part.
Nothing better than 4 Peaks middle of the day when you get done working.
Also, it was just, I don't know, it was a Sunday afternoon. It was a beautiful day out yesterday.
It was great.
It just tasted like a day for a wow. Even today, Sean and I went for a walk before the game, and we walked to the Fries, and I said, I kind of want a beer. I've been craving 4 Peaks. I don't know. It's Super Bowl week. Downtown is popping. I just want a beer. So if you want to get yourself a beer, head on over to 4 Peaks or buy 4 Peaks wherever you buy your beer. It is the best beer around. We were also talking with some Coyote staff about their favorite 4 Peaks beer. So it's not just us who loves 4 Peaks. It's everyone at the Super Bowl right around the corner. Enjoy a nice 4 Peaks beverage during the big game. All right. No word from Craig.
Wait, that's unusual.
It is unusual.
I saw Craig tonight. I actually went to the game tonight.
Yeah, so how was that?
I had to go to the Minnesota game because I had to talk to a few of my Minnesota friends. And I told them before the game, I said, watch out for that Mullett magic. I swear I did. I said, teams come in here and they're not ready to face the onslaught. And I said, if they can survive the first 10 minutes. But you know what? They had a "Let's Go Wild, Let's Go Coyotes" chant going at once. It was like a little competitive chant going. There were a lot of Minnesota jerseys and sweaters. But if you're in Minnesota right now, by the way, it's chilly.
It's quite nice here.
If you're going to make a road trip, why not here?
Yeah.
Like, buddy, boy, howdy. Like I like Minnesota, but I live here. Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, howdy is right.
You can't shovel
sunshine. One thing about this game I forgot to mention in the second period, there was a sequence where the Arizona Coyotes hit the post 3 times in a row. The post was playing for the Minnesota Wild today.
We had it as king of the game for a bit.
Yeah.
It's true. We did have the post as the
I think we needed to launch an investigation on the post. Like, man, that was unreal. And that just, if anything, it just further cements the point that the Arizona Coyotes were buzzing in this one. And that's exactly why Sean pulled out his phone to live bet them. You just got the sense right from the start.
Yeah, no, honestly, and you talk about those posts, and they were getting pucks that we talk about this team all the time, not shooting the puck, not delivering pucks to the net. Today they did. And honestly, right from the beginning of the opening faceoff, they got pucks to the net. And I know they hit those posts, and hey, Minnesota could have easily, it's a tight game. It's a 2-2 game. This game could have gone either way, but it was just refreshing to see the Coyotes shoot the puck and get pucks to the net. So let's hope that continues for the rest of this week.
Absolutely. Well, he's finally here. Feels like it took a while today. Craig, where have you been?
Stopped at the bar, had a beer.
Did you get Boogie's autograph for me? No.
Did I? No.
Sorry.
That was they played well tonight. They played well from the drop tonight. They came out with energy, and I think a lot of this was we saw the benefit of the break. They actually had legs. After the interviews were over, I was actually just walking down the hall with Josh Brown, saying how it felt foreign to have that much energy in their legs tonight because of the schedule that they faced. Not just the 15 and 26, but the road trip. It's just insane for the Coyotes to start the season. So to have a full week off and to get recharged, they had a spirited practice yesterday. They came out sharp tonight, and I thought they played well in a lot of phases of the game, including in goal where Karel Vemka had his extended family watching him live for the first time tonight, and he really played well on goal tonight.
Yeah, we got to see them we saw them at the ice den yesterday. Yep. And when we were at the practice, and I saw them at the Mullett today. So I think they're all very excited to see him. And he played well tonight.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he really did.
Yeah, this was, I know we're in the business of cheering for losses, but they earned this win. Like, it wasn't like they were, it was a fluke that they won this game. Like, they earned this one. They deserved it. So I'm happy for the locker room for this one, for sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, you go.
We ran into some old friends. Petey was here actually for the first period tonight, doing his kissing babies and saying hello to every Minnesota resident.
Shane Doan is more popular.
Yeah, I said hi to a lot of people.
I don't know. Tonight, I think it was probably Petey's.
Yeah, I don't think Shane was in the building tonight. I didn't see him.
He was here, but
he was.
Yeah, but Petey, he was just hiding out because he felt embarrassed that you were drawing all the attention.
I understand that.
I think I was in my seat for like 5 minutes at a time for the first 2 periods. I didn't see a lot of the early part of this game because I was having a lot of conversations. We'll get to that later. It's not important right now, although one of them has direct ties to what I'm writing about tomorrow. But, all the patches of this game that I watched, just like, wow, this is what NHL hockey could look like if the NHL schedule makers didn't screw the teams over repeatedly. It's not just the Coyotes. We talked about this, Petey, when you were here. Minnesota's in the same kind of stretch right now. They're just starting the same kind of stretch of games that the Coyotes just finished. It's nuts. They got to let these guys get some rest. And I know part of this is the PA pressing for that full week break, but I think there's ways to do it with series, extend the season on either end. We could see better hockey. We could see games like this more often if these guys were a little bit better rested.
Yeah, and I thought this Minnesota Wild's a good hockey team. Let's not kid yourselves. Yeah. This was not their best game that they can play, but it was a fast game. It was physical. I think this was, from a fan perspective, atmosphere inside the Mullett was great, and it was a really good hockey game with some high-skilled, high-speed hockey. So, yeah, I agree, Craig, and we've seen so many games there that are sluggish and slow and turnovers and mistakes, and you make mistakes when you're tired, and that just wasn't the way this game went. It was a really fun game for a fan at the Mullett, and we always say that about the Mullett. The atmosphere there is just higher intensity to start with because you're so close to the ice. But I agree, that was a fun game to watch. And the other thing at the Mullett you get to see, when you get to see a player like Kirill Kaprizov, and you're 13 rows from the ice, and you can really see the details of his skate work and his stick work, and see, my goodness, what a good hockey player this is. That's fun for me when you get to see these opposing players come into this building and play. I'm looking forward to, we talk about McDavid. We saw Matthews play there. This is a building unlike anywhere in the league where you get to see the best players in the world that close up, and we got to do it again tonight.
Yeah, I had my own Minnesota connections tonight too, Petey. I
have
a few myself, yeah. It was good to see. From a writing standpoint, Mike Rousseau and I have been friends for a very long time, the great beat writer for The Athletic. He's catching like a 12:30 flight out of here to Dallas. He's insane, and he was trying to get a story done. But it was good to catch up with Rousseau. And the other person it was great to catch up with is Coyotes beat writing legend Sarah McClellan, who, of course, covers the Minnesota Wild now.
I was so upset when she left.
Yeah,
I didn't see her.
That was a good one.
Did she see me coming and hid?
You know why? I'm gonna tell everyone now that it's over and she can't get in trouble. Sarah was up, where the scouts sit. She decided to sit up there instead of on media rail.
No.
She's a rule breaker tonight, but she got a much better view of the action. Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine that? No, I didn't
see Sarah. One of the few Minnesota connections I missed.
Craig, speaking of attendance tonight, there were quite a few scouts in attendance, were there not?
Yeah, there were. And Jakob Chychrun put on quite a show for him, didn't he, with 2 goals tonight?
So somebody earlier in our chat, and I know this is jumping the gun, and we're going to talk more about the trade deadline later this week, but someone in the chat said, oh, Jakob Chychrun had a great last game as a Coyote. And I was like, whoa. But
yeah, so I know there's a lot of narratives going around Twitter about Jakob Chychrun's social media. I'm not going to get to all that right now, but I have already written the lead to the story that's running tomorrow, dispelling all that nonsense. There's so many amateur reporters on Twitter, and all the stuff that was out there, you're wrong. You're wrong on all of it, okay? Shh, just stop talking. Stop typing.
I think I need to just clip that of Craig telling everyone they're wrong, talking. And we should just save that as a clip.
We don't need to. He says it every damn show, so it's not that big a deal. Just
That's
wait.
like Craig. All Craig does is just dispel the bad narratives.
The bad narratives.
And then Brad Marchand tells him to shut his pie hole.
Shut your pie hole.
I went straight to the source. I mean, Chick told me himself, so we'll get to that tomorrow. Yeah, and I also had a really good talk today for an upcoming feature with Troy Stecher. And again, what we told you did not happen. Stetch is not going to get into things, and there are good reasons why Stetch doesn't want to get into exactly what was said. So trust him, have respect for him. But no, there was nothing said about his father, so shut up about that too.
All right, there you have it.
There you go.
Craig, setting things straight. And while we're on that, Craig, I know you had – we're going to steer away from the game now if you're fine with that for a few.
Sure.
Liam O'Brien – he's been back on the ice. Is there a status update on when we could possibly expect him back? I know you mentioned something today.
Yeah, Andre said there's a good chance he's going to make that 3-game trip with them to Chicago, St. Louis, and Nashville. He could play as soon as Friday in Chicago. He's been on the ice with them, so he's going to be back very soon. If not in Chicago, I would expect him to play sometime on that road trip.
A-Root in the chat. It wasn't me, Craig.
He was like, shots fired. A-Root's ducking. He's like, no, what? I didn't do it.
Just want to let you know, A-Root, that we can customize those Shut Your Pie Hole t-shirts. So I could say, Shut Your Pie Hole, A-Root.
Special edition.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Poor A-Root.
Oh, man. I love it.
Bruised and beaten.
Okay, another topic that I want to get into tonight, and I know you got into it a little bit yesterday in our Discord. We don't have to spend too long on it, but the big news of the day yesterday is that the Coyotes sent Dylan Guenther back to the Western Hockey League, where he'll report to the Seattle Thunderbirds and remain with them. He was just a few games away from that 40-game mark, which would put him a year closer to becoming an unrestricted free agent. Craig, can you tell us a little bit more about this decision?
Sure. Equally big news was that I sent a video of Andre Tourigny talking about it to Leah Merrill today, and it looked like I had recorded it while I was underwater. So Leah was like, I'd like to use it, but I wouldn't feel that comfortable putting it up on the site, Greg. Which is why Leah Merrill needs to be at the arena far more often because, yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. But what Andre did say, he had some great insights on this. And I talked to Bill about this as well, Bill Armstrong. What Bill really was talking about, and I know everybody thinks this was done solely because he would have accrued an extra year toward arbitration rights and UFA status. Sure, that factors into it. Money always talks in these situations. But with Dylan Guenther right now, there were games since he came back from World Juniors where they felt like he was kind of swimming with his head below water. He didn't look like he was keeping pace with the ramped up play that you're seeing from NHL teams. You'll hear coaches and GMs say this all the time. Games get harder and harder as the season progresses. Well, they didn't feel like Dylan Guenther was always keeping up there. The other part of this is, as they go down the stretch here, theoretically, unlike tonight, the Coyotes could lose a lot of games. And what's Dylan Guenther doing out there? Chasing pucks in a 4-0 loss, a 4-1 loss. They want to put him in a situation where he can compete for something, play on a big stage. Yes, it's a lower level, but there are still things that he can do there. He can get a lot of confidence, for one. And this is a short-term stint for Dylan Guenther. I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, you can't do this. You'll just mess with players. Well, you know what? It's on the player a little bit to not have it mess with you. Suck it up, buddy. This is your situation now. Make the best of it. Work on some things. Get to the offseason, whatever offseason he's going to have if Seattle goes, deep into the maybe even to the Memorial Cup. But work on your body in the offseason and then come back and prove that you belong in the NHL next season. It's not going to be handed to you. This is not, this is not No Child Left Behind here. This is you earning your way in the NHL. So if this is a tough situation, and Andre said this, it's a nightmare for him. He's not going to be happy about it. Of course he's not going to be happy. He wants to be in the NHL. So prove it next season. Earn it next season. That's what this is about. I know there are a lot of narratives that this ruins development, and we've seen it happen sometimes in the past, but part of this is on the player to have the right attitude and do the right things to be prepared for the NHL.
Yep. Absolutely. So
I
thought you were going to add something.
No, I was going to say, you don't think the Seattle Thunderbirds are staying in Ritz-Carltons and flying private charters? No, probably not. It's going to be, buddy, little rude. You don't think their pregame meals are? No, it's a rude awakening.
At least they got his rights sorted before this happened, though. Yeah. I will say. And Seattle
this wouldn't have happened if he weren't going to a team like Seattle. If he's going back to the Oil Kings, this wouldn't have happened.
And Seattle is a good team in the WHL right now. So
for sure. And to Craig's point, they want to. We talked about this before. You don't want to be what the Edmonton Oilers were when they had all those top draft picks and they learned how to lose. Learning to lose does not help you in the long term. For him to go to a team and play meaningful games in the spring is way more valuable than playing here in a decimated roster after the trade deadline and losing every night. To what end? How does that help his development? Here, he can go play and potentially play playoffs for sure, potentially play in a Memorial Cup, meaningful games, competitive games, and you know what? He can be the guy. He can be the guy. And yep. That's important because ultimately you want Dylan Guenther to be the guy in the NHL. And to be the guy in the NHL, you have to be the guy somewhere else first. You have to know how to be that and how to be the best on your team, the best in the league, leading scorer, all-star. Let him go down there.
Especially in big moments, right, Petey? Especially in big moments. He's not going to get the chance to perform on the big stage here. He's going to get that chance in big moments there. What is going on?
But we don't know.
Sean is.
I just started choking behind the camera.
Yeah.
I was
going to have the CPR.
Don't worry about it. Leah was just making sure I wasn't dying.
Okay, you aren't dying, right?
No, he's fine.
I'm back. I made it back.
Show can go on.
I talked to Dylan's agent today, Kevin Epp, as well, and I think they were a little surprised by the timing of it. I thought they thought maybe it would have happened before the All-Star break, or even if he got back, maybe it would be right after that Chicago game when he hit his 39th game on the active roster. But that aside, Ep said that they kind of expected this was coming at some point. So, he said it's going to be a shock for Dylan. He was pissed. He was not happy about it.
For sure.
But honestly, you want that. You want it.
For sure.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll go to juniors. You don't want that. But he said, it's going to take him a day or two to adjust. And once he gets into that situation, he'll embrace it. So we'll see what Dylan Guenther can do the rest of the season in a really good situation in the dub.
Yep. And you know what, Craig? That's okay that he's not happy. That you want them to be. When you send players down to the American League as a general manager and a coaching staff, you don't want the player to go, oh, okay, that's great. When's the next bus? They want to say, F you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to show you made a mistake. Yep. So great. I'm glad he went. And this is a good learning experience for a 19-year-old kid. He's 19. Like, Petey, he's going to be okay.
Looking at his game, I want your take on this. When you look at what Dylan did, what are the areas where you said, not quite there yet?
Well, look when Dylan Guenther succeeded, and when he played at his best was on the power play.
Yes.
Well, why? Because he's got more room and he's got more time. This game happens extremely quick. And let's face it, we talked about it being 19. Dylan needs to be stronger. If you are going to want to play in those 5-on-5, big 50-50 battles, down low, underneath the goal line with 28, 30-year-old men, you got to be stronger. And I think that's going to be one of the things that he'll have to work on, getting physically stronger. And that's going to happen just naturally through maturation. But the ability to change directions quickly and those quick strides so you can escape those kind of dangerous situations with your feet, he'll have to learn that too. Because when you give him open ice and you give him the ability to carry the puck and shoot, the kid's money. And you'll see it in junior. Well, he'll have more time and space, but he'll also get to work on that in-tight game that I think is going to need to improve a little bit more. So he's not, I don't want to say deer in the headlights. That's not fair because I don't ever think he looked completely out of place here. But there were games physically where he just needed to either, if you're not stronger, you better be quicker. So one of the two things, and I think that's going to have those opportunities to play down a junior where the game's a little bit slower so it can work on those type of skill moves to make those quick feet plays where he can get some space on his own.
Yeah, that's well said.
And as I think, can you scroll up, Sean, for 1 second? Ogie said, Guenther, Geeky, Lipkin, and Cooley all playing for Hardware this year.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Yes.
And yeah, Seattle, they have 74 points. They already clinched a playoff spot. And then in the other conference of the WHL, the Winnipeg Ice lead the other conference. That's Connor Geeky squad, and then Logan Cooley on Minnesota.
What you just said there, all of those names together,
that's the future of this team.
And it's kind of exciting. I'm just say it the way you say it, like Logan Cooley. Those are Cooley, Geeky, Guenther, Lipkin,
Will Smith.
And Will Smith. No, Craig.
Hey, Anaheim and Vancouver got a point tonight.
Yep,
okay,
Connor Bedard.
And the Coyotes rallied to get 2. Anyway, moving right along.
Moving right along. Okay, one more thing I want to talk about while you're here, Craig, and then I'll give you the final say. The AHL All-Star game is going on right now. It just happened tonight in Montreal. Hopefully everyone had a okay time getting there because we sure as heck didn't. But Michael Carcone was the All-Star representative for the Tucson Roadrunners, and he had 4 assists at the All-Star Classic, which is tied for the second most points by a Roadrunners All-Star, matching Dylan Strome.
Oh,
so there you have it.
Huh.
But Michael Carcone, what he's been doing in the AHL this year is unbelievable. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but he's just scoring at an unbelievable pace. 22 goals, 40 assists, 62 points in 39 games with Tucson.
Did you have that chart, by the way? Of
we don't have it as a graphic, but I can have it in front of me.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's doing with the Roadrunners. He is very close to breaking the single season points record, and by the time he's done, he's going to obliterate it and have the most points in single season in Roadrunners history. That's a cool thing. And I know people are like, "Oh, how come he didn't get the recall? How come JSA got it instead?" Well, we all know that he's played 9. You know, the waiver situation was what it was. He'll probably be back up here after the trade deadline when rosters are expanded. But it's also really cool to give him this opportunity both to play in the All-Star game and then to crush that record. I think that's a cool thing for a guy to a feather in his cap that he can carry for the rest of his life. And he will get it, assuming he doesn't, I don't want to jinx him. Assuming he doesn't get injured, he's going to just obliterate that record.
Yeah, he's just 5 points away from it. So, and they still have quite a bit of season left to play.
He's going. He'll do it in 2 games.
Yeah.
But Craig, some of the things we just said about Dylan Guenther, you can also say about Michael Carcone. Like, is he better down there being a leader, being a veteran player, and contributing to the offense, playing in all situations, playing 16, 17 minutes a night, or here and playing 7? Like, J.S. Dave played 7 minutes tonight. What's helping his progression and what's helping his development? I know you want him playing here, and he wants to be playing here. And to your point, Craig, he will play more NHL hockey games. Don't worry, Michael Carcone. Yep. Carcone is going to play more NHL games. For right now, this isn't a bad thing. Everybody wants to. We talk about rushing. I want to play the. Sometimes it's okay. We talk about some teams do overbake their players, and maybe Bill might have it right on a few of these guys. It's okay. Just hang on. Yeah. Play the long game.
Yep, absolutely. But Craig, I know you have your story coming soon on the stuff with the trade deadline. And speaking of Roadrunners, when we do our show on the trade deadline, we will be talking about who could potentially come up from Tucson to replace the guys that the Coyotes will inevitably send out. We don't know exactly who, but they will make trades, and those roles will need to be filled. So we'll talk all about that. But Craig, I know you already alluded to it, but what do you have coming on gophnx.com?
Yeah, I definitely have a piece looking at the trade, basically the trade chips, the potential guys who could be moving in trades for the Coyotes at the deadline. And I'll have a lot of information. I'll look at, their season, what value they might bring to other teams, what they might bring in a trade, maybe some of the teams that are interested in them, and then, of course, their cap situation factors into all of that. So I'll be looking at that. As I mentioned, I'm going to have a piece on Troy Stecher, who was unbelievable in an interview today. So I'll have a piece on him later in the week. And since you mentioned what you did earlier, Leah, one of the other things that we don't talk about, and it's tied to what happened tonight, is what happens with college free agents? Will the Coyotes be looking at any college free agents like they did with Nathan Smith and Jack McBain, who scored the game-winning goal tonight? That's another thing to watch. We'll get into that later as well. But fun little story to end this. McBain on the breakaway tonight said he lost an edge on his skate, first of all, so he couldn't skate. Then the puck's on edge, so he's just like, I didn't know what to do with it. Honestly, like he said, it was basically one of the ugliest breakaways he's ever had, but he was just trying to get it up, and he did.
He was hustling, though.
It's good. He was, without an edge, and then the puck rolling on him, but he scored the game-winning goal. So, Fun story. I really like what Jack McBain has given this team, and he was one of those guys that he wasn't a college free agent. Minnesota had him, but he wasn't going to sign with Minnesota, so they acquired him.
Love it. Well, looking forward to reading those on gophnx.com. You got a lot of stuff up there right now, so become a diehard so you can read the diehard only content over at the website. And Craig is always working on stuff. You can always turn to Craig for everything you need to know. Craig, anything else before we let you go?
I really enjoyed Petey's Minnesota Man Crush piece. I really enjoyed it.
It was so good.
Thanks, Craig. And Craig's got to hurry up and leave. Craig's got to leave the show today because he's got to stop at Party City and pick up some green tablecloths for the St. Patrick's Day party in 5 weeks.
Oh, you heard about that? The secret's out?
Good God. He's got to get the napkins ready. He's got a shopping list yet stopped. That's why he's in a rush to get out of there. He's got to get ready.
Have a whole menu plan. Not that you'll be eating any.
5 weeks away. Well, we already know I'm not eating it. Yeah. And you better break it to your wife.
Okay.
Break it to your wife
she
now.
Knows, buddy. And wait till you walk in the door. It's going to be
Oh, no.
It's going to be interesting. We'll see who wins that battle of wills.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
All right, Craig. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right. Bye. Petey, if you're going to piss off Tara by going to that party, you better bring her maybe a housewarming gift. Maybe something
What can I get her?
Maybe something from More Furniture, like something small. I don't know. Maybe like a serving table. I don't know. Something like that. Just go really out of your way.
Bar stools.
Yeah, why not? I'm in the market for some new furniture. I'm definitely going to be checking out More. They just have the best furniture in the Valley. So morefurniture.com. That's morfurniture.com to save big on the best furniture in the Valley. They also got that white glove delivery, which is super nice. That's also something I look for when I buy furniture. So listen, when I'm just a couple weeks away from needing new furniture.
We'll talk about that
we
more
will
later
we
too.
will talk about that more then. But in the meantime, I'm going to rack up some money on Underdog Fantasy. I got a notification today. Yes. You can start doing drafts for the Super Bowl game.
Right now.
Yeah, on Underdog. So I know there's only one weekend of NFL left, which is crazy, which I know a lot of people just associate fantasy with NFL. But the best part about daily fantasy is you can play it in any sport, hockey, basketball. It just makes things so fun. Plus, you can play the pick'em game, select higher or lower player point totals, and it just makes
I'm just waiting for pitchers and catchers to report in 8 days soon. So I can start doing higher and lower on pitch counts.
Yes, and then you need to, every time you win, you got to screenshot and tweet it.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's easy to get started. Go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app. Sign up with the code PHNX, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. All right, couple final notes before we close out. First of all, I'm so out of the loop with the Coyotes playing. I have no idea what their upcoming schedule looks like.
I don't either.
Normally, I'm like, I can name it for you.
Because we don't have 10 games in a week.
I know. It's not Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It's not. So let's take a look at the Coyotes' upcoming schedule.
I was going to say, you don't know when the Coyotes plays. Neither do Bally's.
Oh,
just saying. They messed up the graphic.
You know. All right. So the Coyotes have a big matchup against the Chicago Blackhawks.
That's their
Friday.
next game?
I know. Look, 3 days off. I mean,
game?
Not off.
They're not
without
off,
games.
Apparently, but
yes, Friday at 6:30 against Chicago, and then back to back. Love it. Thanks NHL. Saturday against St. Louis, and then on to Nashville on Monday. Back home for one night, and then a dreaded 8:30 p.m. matchup against the LA Kings.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about this road trip as this week goes on, but. We're going to give you some DraftKings tips on that game on the 13th. We're not doing it today, but stay tuned later in the week, and we're going to give you some tips after the Super Bowl on some hockey you might want to bet on.
Yeah,
on the
so once NFL's done, we need it's all full steam ahead on betting on hockey. So
we'll talk about it. But this all kidding aside, this game on Friday is huge for the Tank.
The Tank Bowl.
And in Chicago, as going into the break, Chicago Blackhawks were playing better hockey. So it's a home game. It's Chicago. They're coming off travel. It's a different time zone. Yeah. The game's not at Mullett. I'm gonna be okay if they lose that one.
Yep.
Sorry.
Same.
Sorry.
Same. Shout out CHGO.
Yep. Oh boy, we have to call them too before this.
Yeah.
A friendly wager.
See what's going on.
Yep. Good idea.
Petey.
What?
We talked about your Minnesota project already.
We did.
There was one other thing that happened this weekend that I want us to talk about.
Oh.
I haven't had the chance to sit down and talk about it since it happened.
We haven't got a chance to talk about it. And CWP was there.
And it's the high school hockey D1 state championship, which might have been one of the best hockey games of 2023.
So I'm going to be sincere when I say this. Like, I like sports, and I think most people that are listening here like sports. I will watch anything that's competitive. And you're playing for something like a championship. Playoff anything. I'll watch it. I just do. Give me a playoff game. And I tell you, if you haven't watched this game, it's on the AHSHA, Arizona High School Hockey Association website. Watch the third period. The Desert Vista Thunder were down 4-1 in the third period to the number 1 ranked team in the state, Notre Dame, who hadn't lost since October. Hadn't lost a game since October. With a 4-1 lead in the third period, Desert Vista's leading scorer in the playoffs gets a 12-minute penalty, a 2 and a 10 to start the third. You're like, well, this is over.
I literally thought it was done.
Game's over. Their chance of winning is sitting in the penalty box. And it was absolutely electric in the Mullett. It was so much fun seeing those kids battle back and winning in overtime. I'm telling you, to watch it, it was exciting, and these kids were playing for something. They're not playing for millions of dollars. They're not playing for pro contracts. They're playing for their school. And it was so fun, and it was just pure hockey. And I really enjoyed it. And everybody that put it on, all the people and parents that showed up, Leah and Craig came. It was fantastic. So I sincerely give these kids, their flowers and go watch that third period. Yeah. Highly, highly recommended if you're a hockey fan. It takes 20 minutes. put it in and watch that third period.
And Petey was on the call. So.
I did. I was the color analyst. By the way, and Tyson, I know Tyson Nash is listening right now too. Actually, Tyson doesn't even know we have a show, so he's not listening. But sometimes when we're sitting in the more furniture recliners, I can be maybe a little critical of some of the things that Tyson says. Being on the other side of the microphone in a live game and trying to talk like that, I'm sorry. It's hard.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I'm sorry, Tyson.
But congrats to Desert Vista on winning the high school hockey state championship.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great
awesome,
game.
Awesome.
Good for them. They haven't won that since 2002. They've been in the finals back in 15 and 16. Notre Dame's been in the finals 3 years in a row. Last won it 2 years ago. Pinnacle last year. Well, and we talk about Pinnacle. My kid's a Pinnacle Pioneer, won in 2017. They only graduated 4 seniors. Desert Vista 13, and Notre Dame graduated 11 seniors. So
wow,
let's go Pioneers.
Okay, well,
that's it. I'm done.
I hope
high school.
Oh, John?
I was going to ask if DraftKings has futures on that yet.
The Pinnacle Pioneers on the DraftKings futures.
Love it.
Plus 200 favorites.
Give me the Horizon Huskies as a
plus 1,300
underdog
the Horizon
favorite.
Huskies.
All right.
They're plus 2,000
I hope
for sure.
that after Desert Vista won and celebrated on the ice and got in their cars to go, that they stopped at the Spaghetti Shack.
The Spaghetti Shack.
I know. That's a curveball, huh?
Well, there's a curveball.
Spaghetti Shack does seem like the perfect high school post-game high school hockey meal.
100%.
Unreal.
So
we had by the way, just half of our staff has been at Radio Row all day today, and there are a few of us holding it down here, and Sean and I are among those few. And the shining moment of the day is when Spaghetti Shack showed up in our office in giant metal tins, meatballs, spaghetti, garlic bread. Oh my God. Highlight of my day. By the way, Sean's wearing a pure white shirt today. Survived eating spaghetti.
I was going to say, that's how you know how good it is. All of it got in my mouth.
Yeah,
As shown by my pure white shirt still.
Spaghetti Shack, it's a community-focused to-go pasta concept started right here in Tempe by 5 lifelong friends currently serving in Tempe and Queen Creek, and hope to find your neighborhood soon. They're ASU alum-owned and operated, and they have a ton of stuff on the menu. Amazing, delicious food.
I was looking at the menu with Max today. They do Spaghetti Taco Tuesdays.
Wow.
Spaghetti in a taco shell.
And these are all like just recently graduated students, right? These are kids.
I'm not sure when they graduated, but the guy that came in was a young guy.
But I guess I get the senior discount at Safeway now, so everybody's young to me. Anyway, never mind. But yeah,
Tempe and Queen Creek, Karen. That's where the Spaghetti Shack is. So check it out. It was amazing. And now there's some in the fridge still. You can try some when we're leaving. Take a plate.
On it.
Take a plate.
Literally, I'm going to. Can't wait.
But
starving.
The Coyotes, they're not home a ton in the next 2 weeks. But when they are, you want to go see them live, check out the Game Time app. There's also a ton of concerts going on in Phoenix this week. I'm sure some of those are on Game Time.
There's stuff going on this week?
I don't want to talk about it. There's a lot of just stuff coming. I feel like once we get into spring and people start announcing concerts and tours.
Blink-182, Let's Go June. I'm there.
Oh,
so I'm getting my tickets.
There's some rumors that the Tage Thompson of music, Aubrey Drake Graham, is going on tour this summer. I'll be stalking.
Thompson of music.
I'll be stalking.
Where do we get our tickets, Leah?
Sean and I are right on the Game Time app. Like the second those tickets drop, we're on Game Time because, man, I don't know if I can wait, but I would wait. I would wait to buy tickets for Drake to get them 60% off on Game Time. So you can do that too by waiting to the last minute when you buy tickets using Game Time. And the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link below in the description. All right, we got one more thing to do before we go. Of course, it's been forever. It's been forever. It's the punch card.
Punch card. I already forgot.
I don't even remember where we were on here. Oh my God, 3 wins on this row. I'm shook.
Is that the? No, 4. 4 is the row record with 3 games to go.
Okay, so let's just hope they
and
don't
that's that whole
beat
road
Chicago.
Trip.
Yeah.
So we got a 3-game road trip. 3 spots left on the punch card. I don't know if they're going to do it.
I don't know. We'll see.
This is a tough trip. The back-to-back is tough. The winnable game is the first one.
Yep.
But after I say that, they'll sweep all 3.
I know.
They're going to St. Louis and win.
Stop it. We're enjoying this one, and we are not talking about the tank. We have a $1.99 super chat from Drew. Late in here, do we go over Flowers' crease snow? No, but earlier during the game, we were talking about how Flower whispers to his posts, which we think played a factor in the posts making many saves tonight. So
yes,
but I will check that out in the Discord. Drew, I haven't had the chance to look at it. Petey, any final thoughts on this one?
You know, just like we say, we want to see a competitive game. They did that. They skated well. They played well. A little Mullett magic rubbing off on them. We talk about individual efforts. We got to talk about Jakob Chychrun first with the 2 goals. McBain with the game-winning goal against the team that drafted him looked good. Vejmelka with his family in the stands. There are a lot of good things, but what you didn't see tonight is some of their star players like Schmaltz and Keller offensively lead this team, and so it was somebody else that had to pick up the pace. I thought it was a good team win. The best part of this is now they have a few days to practice, and it's much easier to practice, and everybody feels better at the rink after a win.
And they're not flying out until Thursday, so they have 2 full days.
2 full days of practice. It's unheard of for this team, and you can do it with a positive attitude. They will go to the rink happy tomorrow because of this win. Everything is just better when you're winning.
Yep.
And so good for them that they get this now. And I don't know what the weather, we didn't check the weather in Chicago and St. Louis, but it ain't here.
I don't know. It's like the 70s all week. We got Super Bowl, we got waste management, we got it all. So
can't wait. So it's good, and we're celebrating a win. And I'm vowing right now, I'm done. If they lose, I'll be okay. I don't even know.
Are you looking at the Chicago weather?
No, I'm looking at what Shane
said.
Super chat.
Oh,
Shane has it's a $3 super chat, but so I'm looking at my computer. You can see it. Do you see this?
Yeah.
So it's a moving dog, but what it says on our screen is Shiba dog happily. I can't even read it. Happily massaging his.
Happily massaging his cheeks with his mouth wide open, and so that's the way it comes up on the chat. But on the YouTube channel, it's a cute little emoji.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, Shane. Thanks, Shane.
Oh boy,
get some sleep. Shouldn't you be in bed by now?
Yeah,
like that's what I'd be telling my kid. He's been at work since 6 a.m. Nobody works harder than Shane Diefenbach, the locksmith of PHNX. Go to bed. He's been working all day at that. Do you know the Super Bowl is here?
No. Hey,
buddy, you can't get anywhere in this town right now. I can't get to safe. I can't get to the Walgreens and darn traffic. Yeah, this golf tournament. Everybody go home.
Everybody go back.
Had it with y'all.
Oh boy. All right. Well,
good win. Let's do it again on Friday.
We will be back on Wednesday for a live show, a Thursday live show, Friday, Saturday, post-game shows. So tune in. Join us then. Again, the chat is unreal. We can't thank you guys enough for being here live or watching this or listening to it later. Like and subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe to PHNX Coyotes wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow all of us on Twitter at @SPetersHockey, at Sean_DePaz, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan. Follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms. PHNX Sports on Radio Row all week long at the Waste Management Open. Just a ton of content. So follow, and follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. Everybody, have a great rest of your nights, and we will see you soon.